Okay, so hello. Today we have a very welcome guest here, Professor of Ceramics and ceramic artist, Mr. Milan Pekař. And he's going to tell us about his journey in his artist field and professor's field and his teachings and his business. So welcome. So I would like to start with a little introduction about how you started, or maybe who you are for those of us who don't know you at all.
Okay, hello. I'm happy to be here. My name is Milan Pekař, and I'm basically I'm a ceramist, and I do ceramic for actually quite a long time. I studied ceramic here in Uherské Hradiště, and later in Umprum. And now I have my own ceramic studio in Prague, and actually I have one more studio outside of Prague, and I'm also teaching in Umprum in university. Actually, to kind of clarify, I'm not a professor.
Okay. Maybe in the future.
But yeah, I'm now head of the ceramic studio together with Teresa Slukova. We kind of sharing the head of studio. There we also collaborate on some things, but we will talk later about it.
Okay, I think that's lovely for introduction. So let's go right back to the beginning. Imagine when you were 12, 13, I don't know what age. How did you decide to study ceramics?
Actually, it was a bit of accident because like when I was I think about just like 10 or 12 years old, I want to be archaeologist. And I want to go in Prague. There was a kind of for children like small archaeologist club, but it was full. And my mother decided opposite was ceramic to sign me for ceramic lecture. And I find it actually similar because in archaeology you digging mostly ceramic because it's like lasts so long that most of when you go archaeology digging like 90% of it is ceramic. And I actually stay. I did like it. And later when I was thinking where to go to secondary school, because I think Czech this is quite. What I find later, this is actually not common that you actually can go when you are like 15. You can decide specialization. You don't go like kind of study to just a high school. You can choose the specialization. And because I did like the ceramic, I did go to study ceramic in Uherské Hradiště. But it wasn't actually so straightforward. I first studied textile for 2 years, but I didn't like it too much, and I decided.
Why did you apply for textile? And was it at the same school?
No, it wasn't same school. In the time when I was applying, I didn't apply for Uherské Hradiště because I'm from Prague, and Uherské Hradiště is quite far from Prague, and I applied for Bechyně. But in this time, this was
That is a ceramic school.
Yeah, there's ceramic school too. And this was the closest ceramic school to Prague I could apply. But in this time, I think there was about 80 people applying for like 6 or 7 places, and I didn't get in. I think
that's quite interesting because I think that has changed since.
Yeah, it changed since a lot.
They have like very few people applying at the moment. Okay, so 80 people you said?
Yeah.
80 people applying for ceramics. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you think it was so popular at the time?
I think it's quite easy. It's because during communist time, if you study ceramic and you do ceramic, you did a very good living, because ceramic under communist time was kind of like very well financed. There was a lot of public work. There was even a lot of kind of state-owned company. You can do ceramic, and it was quite well paid. And you didn't be in danger because ceramic never been like kind of politically critical, in communist time they kind of actually like which is funny because like it's mostly about the factories, workers, and stuff. But they put a lot of I don't know, let's have to say a lot of focus in applied art, because with applied glass and ceramic, they can present it in abroad, an exhibition, and there was no danger of like some political incorrectness or things like this, which means
quite interesting.
Yeah, and plus like everybody talk about it, and I think it's right. There was a lot of public work, like almost every building, there was some percentage had to go to artwork, and ceramic is very good for outside, for facade of the building, decoration, which means people have a lot of job. And then when I was applying, like, it was what was the year, 95, there was still in mind in people like this is good. This is actually good practice to do and learn because you can do good living.
Okay.
And then now, yeah,
It's a good trade.
yeah. But in 90s, a lot of factories start to collapse, and like all this like old-fashioned like ceramic industry start to collapsing. And it's actually now we see it like there's more demand for study ceramic again because like parents which they grow in like parents of the children now they grow in 90s and they only see like glass company collapse, ceramic factory closed down, and it's still in the people, but now it's not true anymore. Like ceramic industry still have a bit of trouble, but like glass company, they're growing quite a lot now, and small ceramic studio flourishing, I think, much more than when I was studying.
I think we'll come back to that point a little bit later. Okay, but let's go back to the beginning. You said you applied for textiles. So what changed your mind at the time of applying?
Yeah.
Why did you start with textiles? Because I don't see any connection to textiles when you talked about your hobbies or your interest in ceramics and archaeology.
Oh, it was a bit of the system because you apply one school and after you had only one chance to apply something else, which means it was a bit of like, and it was like what I applied was like mostly for like carpets and gobelins, and I found it quite interesting, but it wasn't. After like 2 years, I find it wasn't what I was thinking it is. It was like very traditional, very much like kind of learned technique, no much of the like some kind of development or like new design. It was very much like kind of craft school, we'll say.
So more traditional techniques.
Yeah.
Lots of applied arts.
Yeah, there was like, but it was like, I think most of it was because most of like kind of older lady teaching there, they kind of like frozen in like 60s.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. So what happened? You changed your mind after 2 years? Did you have to reapply for the ceramics?
Yeah. I was basically looking where I can go, and I kind of like. It was, I don't know, I actually even know how it happened very quickly. I kind of brought in Uherské Hradiště because I quite like it. I had some people that studied here and they say it's quite good because it's more like kind of, the focus is more to the art. And actually I think even back in probably I will be not so happy what I was looking for, but when you are 15, you kind of like don't know sometimes what you're looking for. But in Bechyně, I think they're very much for like more for craft and throwing. They're very good in like, or they've been very good in throwing. And here was more like sculpture, always like ceramic sculptures. We done a lot of this, and I did quite like it. And I arrived here, and I was quite lucky because somebody in first year kind of stopped study, which means there was one place left, and I bring my portfolio and stuff. I was still doing ceramic even when I was doing the textile school. I was still doing the ceramic, and they say I can come basically next day. Which means it was very quick.
So that was like in the first year, you joined the first year at the beginning or maybe?
No, middle.
So like half term?
Half term, yeah.
Okay. So how was the experience? Was it exactly as you expected, or you heard some information from your friends?
No,
Actually, did you have any expectations of the studies?
Yeah, I did some because this was like during this time I was a bit lucky actually older to be in first year because I was like then like almost like 16, 17. And I did have some expectation. It was I kind of know like what I start to know what I would like to do, and I did really like the school because like in a way too it was like I was out of Prague, nice small town. I live here myself. I almost like kind of ended up to not going back to Prague for like always few months because it was nice freedom. And what happened the year when I been, there was a lot of people which they studied one secondary school before, they maybe studied gymnasium, they decide they want to study ceramic. At this time was actually quite possible. I think now it's a bit more restricted that you can't like study to secondary school, or you can maybe, but maybe not so common.
You can, for example, a secondary school of music, and do it together with like a grammar school or something. I don't know. We don't have any students like this at the moment. But I think you can.
Yeah, but I think it was like about 6 of us, and I think at least 4 people studied some secondary school before. It was quite, in a time, it was actually quite common, and mostly go to like art school. You kind of change your mind, similar with me, which it was actually a lot of fun.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the class? Like, you already mentioned some people studied secondary school before, so probably they were older than today's students. Like, did you have lots of boys and girls? Like, mainly now we have boys. We don't have boys. We have mainly girls.
Yeah.
Girls and one boy. Do we have any boys in ceramics at the moment? Just one. Okay, so one representative of boys. So how many boys were there at the time?
I think it was 2 and 4 girls, which made it a bit similar.
Almost the same.
I think there was a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, but I don't know. I think in other was like, there was a little bit more girls, I will say.
Okay. So how were the studies? What did you do? What did you learn?
Yeah, we did. So what I did, like, we did a lot of like modeling. So, like, we did like, we did modeling, like some the model drawing, like night drawing. I like it because that you can go to school, like have some like kind of like evening class of the drawing. And here we done a lot of like modeling the animal. We even have a like live rabbit to model in accordingly. And after we had some like bird, the small parrot. It was quite fun. And we done like I think the clausura still same things that the kind of like that you're doing for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, something like yourself, your team. But yeah.
Actually, for the purpose of understanding, can you explain what clausura is?
Actually,
That's not an international.
Yeah, it's not an international.
Explain what it is.
I think we're using it even differently than it's supposed to be. Clausura, it's from I think it's from Latin, and it was using it is stemmed from monasteries when monk being like kind of in separation.
Okay.
I think this is. I'm not sure. It is.
Yeah,
but I think
it is. Different meaning of the word.
No, but it's how it's come to. I think it's come from university. Because in university you had a lecture, in the summer school, it was like this, you had a lecture and after you had to do something yourself without the consultation with your professor, which means I think this is how it's come from that you doing in like kind of
on your own.
It's kind of test that you doing something you learn without the help. I think this is how the terms come. But we don't even now in like in the university we don't use this. We're still using the term. It's but it's not like this. We still be consulted with the student, and I think here is the same. It's not like that.
Okay, so what was clausura at the time of your studies? What was it?
I can't. It was a lot of different there was a lot of different things. I can't remember. I remember we done some vase or jug or something like this, but it was like up to you what you're doing. If it's a functional jug or it's some kind of piece of art, like sculpture.
Okay, so when exactly during your secondary studies did you decide to continue with ceramics?
I always want to.
You never changed your mind?
No, not really. It was kind of my goal to go to Umprum in Prague.
Okay.
Because it was kind of goal of a lot of people here in the time to go to university to study.
Okay. So how did you prepare for your entrance exams? Did you have to do anything special? Did you have to concentrate on your portfolio?
Yeah. Basically, it's still same. It's still same to now. You need to concentrate to put together interesting portfolio. This is what I said. Like you do like a lot of drawing classes. We done it like here, like with the Mr. Blach. He was teaching here. He was very good in modeling because he was trained like sculpture, which means a lot of modeling of the like live head or head according to plaster model. It was very useful to entrance exam to Prague to have the skill.
Okay, so you got in. You were lucky. How many people were there at the time in your year?
There was 2 of us. There was like more, like there was less students than now we had. There was only mostly like 2 students in the year, and it was like in a time system was like you only can apply for master. It was 6 years for a master. There was no bachelor studies, which means you basically like apply for 6 years, and they take 2 years there's 2 people in one year, which means there was like 12 students only in the whole studio.
Did you have any interesting teachers there, any mentors or somebody to look up to, somebody who kind of guided you on your journey forward?
When I got in, there was still like kind of there was a Professor Chirac. I think he's very well known. He died actually like 5 years back, and he's quite well known Czech ceramist from mostly like when I was studying, he was like I think 70s. Even in his 70s, and he was very well known even abroad in the communist time. he traveled a lot. I think he is one of, like, when you go to like some collection in abroad, ceramic collection, you will see his work, and maybe Jindra Vikovat he was quite famous, and I did quite like him, but he had totally different approach of teaching than like we have now. He was like kind of the kind of code professor sitting in his studio like in a time, because there was less studio in Uncrum. Like every professor had basically like studio like this for himself, like kind of like with a cabinet.
Yeah.
But it was his room.
He actually work at the school.
Yeah. In the time he worked like less because his age. It was basically there, kind of goodest person, and you can go to consult to him. He doesn't really go to you.
Okay.
And what was quite different from now, they basically only accept people from ceramic school, and they want you to have all the knowledge, like technical knowledge, basically that you need to know the technical knowledge. And you only concentrate to your kind of art development and very often like there was a professor like this in a time, which means you can get very good advice and stuff, but sometimes you don't get like much contact with him. And there was always like assistant professor, and he was more in touch with you, which was Dan Pirsch in a time. He still had he's now at a studio here with studio in Mikulov, and he was more with us like every day. And in a time like I did like Professor Shera because he done a lot of like more like of the apply art, not so much of design. But when I studied design, was very much on the top, and Dan was more for like porcelain design and things like this. But it was actually, in a way, it was interesting to have this kind of old model. It was almost like, I feel it now, it was almost kind of the 19th century model of the teaching than what we have now. So.
Okay, so now you teach at the same school?
Yeah.
So what is the biggest difference now? You can compare.
Yeah.
Are there? So what is the biggest?
Yeah, definitely we had more students. Mm-hmm. We now take like maybe like 3, 4, 5 students in a year, depending how good the people that apply. If we feel like there's a lot of good people, we take a bit more. Which means we have not like 12, but we have maybe 20, 25 students. We have a lot of abroad students too, and a lot of students from different studios coming. There's kind of more fluidity between students. And we like only part of the student comes from the ceramic school. A lot of students coming from like high school, we say in Czech gymnasium, which means they have kind of like basic knowledge, but they don't have a knowledge of technical knowledge of ceramic. They maybe never touch it, or they just try it once, twice.
So how do you accept these students? Like, how do you test their abilities?
No, but we test them same like everybody else. They had to have a portfolio. It's not that you come that you have kind of whims. Okay, I will do ceramic. We have the people like this apply too, and not again portfolio, which means they will not come to we have like first round. We don't see them. We only see the portfolio. And second round, they come and we had some like test, but we want to see they're like creative. It doesn't matter if they take a photos, painting, graphic. Like we have a lot of like lately even from graphic school or some people. It doesn't matter, but we had to change our curriculum to, and more we're actually changing it and to emphasizing technology. Mm-hmm. Like we have first and second year, they have a lot of kind of technical task, which means they do something that you had to do it. It's not like do some sculpture or something. We had like, okay, you had to do small ceramic sculpture, which they go step by step. First you modeling it, after you cast it to plaster, and you make a plaster mold and casting it in a porcelain. It's like it can be a little like boring. We let them decide what kind of sculpture they want to do, but we want them to go through the step. After they do, we have 2 technicians. One is more for like plaster work, another one for clay work, throwing. They have throwing lectures. It's like they can kind of decide when they want to do it, but they had to do it. And like first, second year, they do tasks with another student, but they have this like technical lecture. But if we actually find out after 2 years, there's no much big difference. Like if they want to learn, because the people if they apply, they really know they want to study ceramic. I think in 2 years they are in the same level most of the time.
That's quite interesting. So if you get people from school, like our school, where they get bored in those first 2 years when they have to wait for the other students to catch up.
No, I don't actually. No, I don't. I don't think so, because we don't do this task like. When I studied here, we had like the plaster master. He let us cut like 10 by 10 like break from plaster and measuring it if it's like right. Like I think this is kind of like funny things how to do it. I'm very happy it's like it's not anymore. I think it's very old-fashioned too. We basically like we had like first task, like really first task, like everybody getting it, even if they say, oh, I already done it. We let them to say bring the design for like 10-15 centimeter vase, small vase, and they design it. We had like 1 or 2 consultation about the design. If they can't decide, we kind of help them with it, or we kind of bring them some basic design, tell them what's important on it, how vase should work. Even. And after they make a model and mold, we done casting with them. And after I run some kind of short lecture about glazing, how to glaze it with them. And it's not a kind of like boring because you do your own ways. And after when we do sculpture, it's the same. They decide what they want to do it. If it's sculpture of the dog or person or something, which it's not. And we even want some concept. If they want to like, I want to do the dog, we say why you want to do the dog. What's the emotion of the dog? Like, because very often when you look at the sculpture, we always show them like there's a really famous Czech factory, which is actually sadly closed now in Duvcov. And they had like, I think like 200 years tradition in doing the porcelain sculptures. And even if you see this animal, they always have some emotion, there's some story behind it. It's not just, it's like sitting dog. Like that we tell them this is very important to have some like now we say concept, but the concept is a story.
So a story behind.
Yeah, story behind
their product or whatever they do it. Okay. We made quite a big leap from the beginning of your studies at your school, and now you're teaching there. So when you were studying at Uberl College or university, did you kind of find your niche, or did you learn everything at the same time? Like, how did you find that you are interested in ceramics or whatever you're doing, or glazes? I don't know, ceramics. So maybe you could explain.
I did little different things in when I was studying in Prague. I was kind of trying everything. There was like big push to do porcelain because like even now our studio is like named ceramic and porcelain, which meant I was even thinking we should change it just to ceramic. But there's kind of in Czech traditional porcelain we keep it because I don't see much difference between ceramic and porcelain. It's just like you can say ceramic, porcelain, and stoneware. It's like type of the ceramic and porcelain under the ceramic. But in the time there was like kind of traditional big push for like porcelain design or porcelain sculpture, which was like fine enough because there was a lot of factory where they produce a porcelain ware or porcelain, like say Duvcov porcelain sculpture. And until like the 90s, you could go to this factory and realize your things, but this is not true anymore. And now we concentrate, I think, more not only the porcelain, but I was doing a lot of porcelain design, kind of smaller things. And when I was doing my final work, which your last year, basically now it's master work. You have 1 year to do work, and I want to do something different. And I did a bit more conceptual work. I did only a little bit of ceramic, and I don't have it here anywhere. It's a very old one.
Maybe you can send us some pictures later. We can add it to the Instagram.
And it was, I basically like was because in this time was started to be a lot of talk about like environmental issues. It was 2006 to make a contact, and I was looking in supermarket like. So many fruit and vegetables from so many different countries, and even sometimes didn't make a sense. And I was started collecting this fruit, collecting the seed, and growing them in a studio. I make like big kind of glass house in a studio of ceramic because it was only 2 of us, and it was actually some things grow like crazy because it was like genetically modified. I have tomato from Israel, which they grow like over 20 centimeters every day, and they within 2 weeks they touch the ceiling of the studio, which was like 5 meters. And basically, my outcome was like I did made kind of fictive fruit company which was named Margareta Estrabanos, and I only done like some ceramic product which was like merching for the company, and those mostly about like just like kind of sometimes nonsense traveling of the fruit and vegetable. But now this team is like was done like many times. And actually, to be fair, after I finished high school, I was doing ceramic for a long time. Here in like 4 years in Uherské Hradiště, 6 years in high school. I done it even before, and the problem was too when I finished, I had this like a lot of this kind of porcelain design, and there was nowhere to sell it. When I finished, the the credit crunch started in America, and Czech was affected too, and there was no much market for this kind of like porcelain design. I think it was only like Kubus was kind of starting it, but they didn't sell so much either. I actually still making this like one factory from my degree work. I'm still making for them sometimes.
Yes.
And I changed for a few years, like what I was doing. I was started doing with my friend, like with the wood. We done some interior wood design. I done actually the wooden kayak. Was actually kind of market. I sell a few of them, and I work for movie industry too, which was quite common in Prague.
That's quite
Even
interesting.
during
Can
my-
you tell us a little bit more about that and how you actually start? Actually, can we go back to the end of your college studies? Sorry, how was that? Well, I think it was. So you were done.
Yeah,
You got your diploma. There's not much work.
yeah. Nobody interested.
Nobody interested in ceramics. So what do? Do you talk to your
No.
friends?
No, we didn't like.
I know what you did. You sold some wooden kayaks. So why did you have like an experience with wood carving or something?
It was I always like basically I like to do anything with the hand. Doesn't matter even probably textile school. If it was a little better, more hygienic, I will stay. It's not like I
So it's not the material that you do.
yeah. Okay, ceramic I still maybe talk about later why I like it, but I do like it best. But even I now I quite enjoying doing the woodwork, and I always done some. And with a friend, he studied sculpture studio in Korea Bauer. And he had basically kind of a very classical carpentry and wood carving school in the Slovakia before. And we had a studio, we rent a studio outside of the Prague, and I was doing some of my like kind of just like small wood things, and sometimes I'll help him in interiors, and we was doing these things, and I do on movie industry because in the time it was well paid. And if it was a handy, it was like quite good work. But what I always know, I probably want to go back to ceramic. Problem is too, when you finished, you need to kiln, you need to place. It's not cheap. Yeah,
Initial costs.
yeah. It's not super expensive. And in a way, ceramic it's not too bad. Like compared glass or another, you just need to kiln, maybe potter's well if you are potter. And that's about it. Okay, there's a lot of other things, but you can buy them slowly. And basically, when I make some money, and I have a little rest because we even had the change of the professor, like my last 2 years, and it didn't go very well, which didn't help. Didn't help either. And then I take like few years break from ceramic, but after I had some money, I bought a kiln and stuff, and after I moved the studio back to Prague, kind of smaller place, and it was actually quite kind of like coincidence too when I started back doing some ceramic. The Maxim Velchovsky, which he finished like 5 years before I did finish. I know him from a school. I just funny things he studied here too in Uherské Hradiště. I think only 2 people from Prague study here.
Okay. It's quite interesting, yeah.
And he called me like he's applying to be head of studio in ceramic, and I said, okay, if I'm interested to hit basically his assistant, and because I just started like kind of my own ceramic studio, and I decided I will go back to it and just say yes, and this time kind of like I started to do ceramic. I started to do more ceramic again. Before I was just doing it kind of. Sometimes something when I had the time, but like I decided I will do more. And what was like what I started to, maybe I can click here and in a time, and I'm still doing. I was like this very well training for like casting, making porcelain, working very nice like mold forms, and it was all my study like was very much like into this porcelain design, but I never much like it to be white like porcelain. I find it always a little bit boring, and when I was speaking to like my technician in I say, what kind of color I can have it? And he say, no much, because when you're firing this high temperature, like we fire this Czech porcelain, like 1350, he say, no much color survive, only like cobalt blue and some like brown from iron and things and everything. And if you're using this commercial stain, everything kind of wash out. And I was thinking, this can't be like right. I liked working with porcelain, but I liked the color, and I done a lot of research. I bought a lot of book about like glaze chemistry and things from Britain and from America, because in Czech there was nothing much. This like I think was like, even now there's no much of the technical book in Czech and about like glaze chemistry. There's Pravoslav Rada, his technical like book, which is I think is reprinted for like 50 times. It's still very valid, but for like high firing glazes there was nothing much. And I was going through these glazes, doing some tests, and I find it actually quite interesting, because this color are not done like by stain, but like chemical components, how they work. And actually, I find the crystal glazes, which is technique which was developed in France in end of 19th century, because this like when the chemistry start to be like basically chemistry start to be not like alchemy, but science.
Yes.
And I find it like this glaze was used a lot of in like beginning of 20th century, after kind of died off bit, because like it's hard to do it in big scale in the factories, and in the time was mostly factories. And after like in 60s when it was studio work, even in Czech was done by Professor Eckert. He was professor in Uprum, and after died off again, because it's like, it's not like difficult to do it, but you need to kind of a lot of kind of knowledge and a lot of kind of like I always say, like have a sense for it, because you're basically growing crystal in a glass, but it had a lot of like you can do it quite easy, but if you want to have a nice big crystal, you don't want your porcelain pot crack. There's kind of like in a chemistry you need to do a lot of testing, and you have a lot of waste too.
Okay.
And it's doing actually a lot of people doing it too in America, but mostly in a throwing pot. It's kind of a little easier because they are stronger, but form is always very complicated. They're using in complicated form, and I was thinking I want to use it in like very clear form, simple form, to show just the crystals. And I was experimenting with a lot of different like chemicals and kind of approaches how you can fire it. And it's actually like very quickly like catch up. I had a lot of like galleries wanted, and start to actually selling quite well. And actually I do them up to now. I do a lot of another works too, but they still kind of like demand for it. Like lately I do which was actually like really good contact. I don't even know how they find me. I do for like Cartier, for them shop some vases. And basically I do sell them now like all around the world. And I think it was a combination. There was my studies that I like a kind of like this kind of design approach, porcelain like casting, because you can find the crystal glaze like in different form. But I think this was quite good match. And it was too that I was looking for colors. That was basically I was kind of like researching it big. And I find quite interesting. This is not only crystal glaze. I was looking. I don't know if I have some in here. There's some another like I was started looking more what kind of crystal you can grow. And I decided to do my PhD on this kind of theme, not only on a crystal, and I did kind of like write. I using for teaching now kind of script for glaze chemistry, and even share a lot of this like recipe and stuff. And there was like my PhD focus on glaze.
Okay. Can we go a little bit back, because one of the main reasons behind our project is to tell our students how to actually start doing something after school, something that is sustainable in terms of like making living. So how do you start? It sounds very easy from real talk, like I just started selling, but how did people know about your work? Yeah. Like, did you have to set up a website? How did you present your work? So you started somewhere, somehow you made your first vases. what do you do then? That's very hard for students.
Okay. I think it's a first very difficult step, and I kind of talk about it too. You kind of need some money to start.
So where did you get your money from? Did you ask your parents? Did you have?
No.
Did you apply for any grants? Maybe are there any institutions where you can apply for grants? Did you have friends to help you out? What did you do?
No, I basically kind of like built the workshop very slowly. What I say, I did like a lot of different work and build the workshop slowly. I know some people, they do through the grant. It's actually possible, but I'm not very good at it. We do apply some grants through university and stuff, but this is a grant for the student. But I got myself, I never like applied. I only apply for some grant like during my research. Because I need like money for some like chemical analyst of the glazes for University of Karlovy, Charles University, like geology department. They will not do it like free for me. I just like had some grants like this for the study, but for studio I didn't. I think you definitely can apply, but actually I can't like give much of the advice. I think if you're outside of Prague, it's even easier.
It's easier for foreign students to apply for grants, or
no. I mean, like if you're living like I think the Prague have a little harder to, because there's a lot of business. There's no need to supporting it. Prague is already overloaded, but I know some of my friends or like which study with me, they maybe move like even like Moravia stuff. They tell me that much more easier to apply grant in a small, because there's some regional program to apply grant. But I think you can build it without it too. It's so
that's the advice we are really interested in. So you start saving up from your previous jobs.
I basically done. Even after school, I done a lot of jobs I didn't like it at all. So I did restoration work. I did like movie industry work and a lot of different, even almost kind of like building site too, like some plaster work on building. But you really just need a kiln in a way to for the like with the crystal glazes. I just had like small studio, 30 meter one kiln, and kiln was quite small. Like I just all designed the vases, the biggest vases, they just fit the kiln.
Fit your kiln, yeah.
That even some was like limited by shape, kind of funny shape, because I just had to fit them in a kiln, which means you don't need to. You can start in a garage too, which like it's not ceramic, it's not too bad. Like you need to have some things people wanted. You need to.
Yeah, but how do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you test it? So let's say you like the crystal vases, you were interested in those colors, but how do you test your audience? How do you find your audience? What do? You have to show them somehow.
Yeah, you need to just make it clear. Maybe it's not like best advice, but I think if you're doing something, you need to like it. I think if you go by, I want to do some ceramic, they'll sell very well, and you go to Instagram and look everywhere what is like what is most visible and what is most interesting, and you try to match something. I don't think you can do this way, but I don't think it will make you happy long term.
Yes, so it's not very sustainable.
I don't know sustainable, but it's like you need to like it because it's a lot of work. I think you just need to do it. You just need to do something you do like to do, and you should kind of educate it yourself, looking at all what other people doing, what interesting kids do it. Not just it's like it's really hard to say like trendy, but it's like trends are important too, and to. I just thinking how to. I think now you almost don't need a web page. I think Instagram is good enough. I think like you can do a web page. This web page, when I was actually my web page is very old. When I was doing it like I don't know 10 years back, it cost a lot of money. Now you can do web page very easy, but actually nobody interested in web page now. And I didn't upload it my more than a year. Which means like I think
Instagram. Some social media.
Yeah, social media is good. Like always some engagement on Instagram. You follow some gallery, you like it, you follow them, you hope they will see it. You can of course like go to gallery, show your products too. I think what's very like what is important to like to be able to people can see you from abroad, which means have it in English. I don't think I have anything. No, I have everything in. I don't have anything in Czech because people which they like interested in this kind of product, they speak English, and I don't think Czech market will like feed you. It's not big enough. Mostly, okay, if you will do cups, which is nothing wrong with it. If you do cups and this kind of like daily appliances, like a lot of people doing it and they do really well with it. I think you can make a living out of Czech. Like I think in this case it's very good to go markets and things like this. You can sell quite well. But if you want to do something a bit more like with like higher end, I don't know how this to say in English.
More profitable.
Yeah, more no, well, I never like to sit in like profit.
But you have to earn your living.
But like the kind of more exclusive pieces, I will say, it's still you need to go to abroad. There's some market in Czech, but not like, for example, for bigger pieces, I will maybe show like I even like cooperate with the Jakub Vávra. He do like we do some carpet, like kind of basically carpentry with the ceramic, and with Lucie Skřivánková, she does this painting. Just basically this all go to abroad. There's no much market in the Czech, which means it's go to. If you start to have some money, it's go to some show in abroad and kind of building this up. I see it a lot of I'm not very good in this actually. I'm very rubbish. I never put anything in marketing except making the web page, and I'm not sure the web page brings me much. But anyway, I was quite lucky. Like, is it kind of catch up, and it's like one gallery see it, have it, and it's maybe sometimes it's good to be like, it's good to have a kind of mind maybe to where you want to be with your pieces. Like what kind of gallery you want to be, and kind of be a little like picky maybe, or when you can, because like you have different markets, and because in ceramic, this is what we even like try to teach ceramic to. You have this like apply art, bowl, plates, cups, and you can done them beautifully. They can be very well done, and it's actually you can make a living on it too. Because if somebody like, okay, you can buy cheap plate from IKEA, but if you're able to do something a bit more interesting, and I think it's only just need to like really be really like well made things. You can make a living with this, and it's a different market to it. And after you can make something which is a kind of design or more like art design, that you do kind of exclusive pieces. Like it still can be vast, it's functional, but it's a bit more exclusive pieces. And after you have like total like free art, which is like sculptures or this can be even video about the material, something like you have kind of point, you want to say something. And every this have actually, sometimes sadly, but it has like different market. And sometimes it's not like very good to mix it. Because people...
Why not?
Because people...
That's quite an interesting concept.
Yeah. Because...
But they go everywhere, so you can...
No. Because kind of people see you in... I don't like it very much, but it's still like, it is like this, people see you some... They like when you kind of present yourself, people will see you. They kind of make a mind about what you're doing, what your pieces are about, and it's really hard to it's hard to mix it. Even when people doing it, they do in different brand. Like we had like some student, and they had studio for like very functional wear. And after they do some sculpture pieces, but they do it in different brand, like with so different.
Build up different brands.
Yeah, basically maybe for like different brand for like coffee cups, and different brand for what they're doing. Maybe some like more art pieces too that you can.
Okay, you mentioned something about having an Instagram page and engaging with your audience or with your customers, clients. What does it mean? Can you explain how do you do it? How do you engage? Like, do you just post the things that you make, or do you show a little bit of your studio or the process behind it? What are the people interested in the most? What do they react to the most?
Yeah, this is what I mean. But actually, up to if you kind of comfortable with it, I can see young generation much more comfortable with posting contents, kind of living on Instagram. It's not mine actually. Like, I just post sometimes something, and I know it's not like best way how to do it. I know you can do it much more better. but it's not like that I'm like super comfortable with it. I mostly like when I go through posting the ready pieces, maybe something from the studio. And if it's story, it's very much about like work. I think it would be better if I maybe show more of what I'm doing and stuff. But too, I don't have like, it's time consuming too. You need to decide, because like doing some video about your work and things, it takes time. It's not that you just like put a phone and, but I see younger generation much more better with it than I am.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's more natural for them.
It's kind of like, it's all about you building kind of story, what you doing.
So at the moment, do you do everything on your social media yourself, or do you have somebody to help you out with that?
No, I do it myself.
Okay.
But I know a lot of people do have like, they even like hire somebody to do strategy for Instagram or study how to do strategy for Instagram. This is quite common now. But I'm in a position now. I'm teaching. I have kind of running like 2 studio, but running 2 studio, both studio only employee, it's me. And I don't need more work now. I can imagine if I'm not teaching, I may be able to do more work, and after I maybe can do some more PR.
So you mentioned 2 studios. Can you tell us a little bit about your 2 studios? What is the difference? There are 2 brands.
No, I don't like building two brands. Because the studio I have in Prague, I'm able to do smaller things like I think I'm not signing. I think like most of the crystal vases and some smaller pieces from porcelain. And 3 years back, I will start to do like kind of bigger pieces, which mean I think I don't only want to do casting in a mold, like kind of design kind of things. I want to do more like sculpture pieces or bigger pieces. And I decided, because I had some money, and I bought old house in Uherské Mountain. It was very cheap, kind of repairing and make the studio out of it. I always come for a few days when I have a time. And because we now can see some of these pieces, like basically I need a bigger kiln, because like what I have like in Prague has smaller kiln, I can't have any bigger. And start to do this kind of sculpture pieces. We have maybe click it here, like those kind of like furniture pieces, like small table. And this is maybe I come back to what I learned in textile. These pieces are done basically same like textiles are kind of woven through with the ceramic, and actually find you can build quite big pieces because it's not connected anywhere. I click.
So the only difference in those 2 studios is the place.
Yeah, it's a place
like
and what I can do.
Doing there.
And I like even keep the porcelain and red clays separate too, from kind of technical reason. And of course, I will be happier to have it in Prague, but I have a big studio in Prague. It will be costly. And it's nice actually come out of. And this is the kind of last project I'm working with Teresa Slukova, which we're teaching together too. And we done this like collection, and we still work on it like woven, which mean like it's like textile inspired. We come from kind of point that like first ceramic very often have a textile imprint in it, because first ceramic was made like in a basket, they put clay in it, and they start to be like textile imprint in it. And after they even use this, when they anymore don't use the basket like mold for ceramic, they still using this textile imprint like decoration. And we take like this inspiration and do this kind of like big.
Is it just imprint, or do you actually take the clay and then you like?
Yeah, woven it. Yeah. It's using like thread. And actually, we find this technique is good for big pieces, because like this is not connected everywhere. There's no hard connection. It's only like woven. Only glaze kind of connected together, like, connect everything together, which there's no much of cracking, deformation. Actually, the pieces are quite strong. We even done like other bigger pieces we will show in Mikulov now, which was I think like 2.5 meter almost. This other pieces, and these are more like this are inspired in the kind of ancient form of the house, and this is like stock. We say this is like chest. You can store pieces in it, but it's more like sculptural piece of the ceramic. Yeah.
Now, when we talk about the things that you sell, do you have any interesting stories maybe connected to your customers? Have you had any like interesting requests, or what is the most expensive piece you've sold? What is the furthest destinations you sold a piece to? Like,
furthest destination, I think crystal vases are everywhere. I think I can hardly, furthest probably will be Australia, or even I think New Zealand and some.
And are these like private collectors or just like galleries?
I do sell actually lots through galleries. But I can see now too, a lot of the younger generation, they don't sell through galleries, they try to sell them through, straight through maybe Instagram or social media, because you can have more money out of it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like both. It's actually like, it's not easy to decide, because like, I do mostly through the galleries, and because they take care of the sale, they're able to sell more expensive pieces, but they will mostly taking 50% of your price. But basically you need to price it in this time for galleries, that you need to price it like, if it's €100, it will cost €200 plus VAT, which means suddenly you say, oh, somebody can buy it, it's so expensive. But actually very often the gallery are able to sell it. But what you need to be, of course, careful, you can't after from a webpage selling for €100, because like gallery will they will not like it. You had to sell it you had to sell it same price, which can be sometimes like difficult to kind of manage this. But a lot of people go without the galleries, but in some way, like I had some galleries which maybe they didn't sell like too much, but they are very prestigious. People can see in, and you get another clients through it, which is really up to decide. But you can. I see a lot of people fall out with some galleries because they thinking they're selling it too high, and they will want to sell it lower. That's up to everybody to decide.
Have you heard an experience of like making a piece and selling it and being sorry that you sold it because it was so beautiful, because you had like an emotional connection to it? Or do you just make it and you just leave it happily to someone else? How does it work?
I don't have this actually. I'm quite happy to go. I don't have like much attachment to. It's not that I don't like it. I do like it. But I like when I make it, and I want to move to zero. Most like the space in the studio.
Yeah.
I had some few pieces. I like it, like crystal vase. Some like crystal, they come really nice, and I know I will be not able to repeat it. And I have like 3 or 4 pieces. I decide to keep it, even for exhibition or something, because I know I will not able to do it same again from the experience. That I decide to keep it. I don't think I had like regret I sell something. I just want to make a living with it. In a way, I don't like this kind of glorification sometimes of an artist, or that you have something like piece, it's like was so amazing, I sell it and it's so pity. I just see it like it's the same work. Like if somebody do good carpentry or even break mason, it's kind of same kind of work. Like you doing it good, you want to make a living with it. Which means I don't see much of this kind of reason to kind of glorify
Okay.
pieces this way.
But on the notice of like glazes and stuff, I know it's always a little bit of magic. You never know what it's going to turn out like. So do you keep any like precise notes, or do you have a register of the technology that you use? Like if you achieve certain color, do you keep like a catalog of everything you do and how you've done it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's not like if you don't want to be magic, that if you are like lucky once and never more, you have to keep a notes. I have few books thick like this, full of like notes, great like lace recipe. I write down every firing, what firing was, what was in a kiln, what glaze, what was glazing. If you turn my bathroom back, there's a lot of numbers, didn't make any sense. It's number of the firing, number of the glaze, what was in a glaze, date, even day. And I can when somebody tell me I have this vase, I would like to similar, and I don't know which was it. I said send me all this number, and I can look exactly in day and how I fire it. To even I putting the cone in it, I see what's the temperature real, not from the meter. basically, if you're doing glaze, you had to do this. You had to write it down. You had to write it down everything.
So it's not magic anymore. It's just crystalline.
No, but like it shouldn't be magic. Like you can say it's magical, but it shouldn't be. Even like this, there's still a lot of variable. Like I had like recently, I bought something that was supposed to be whiting and it probably wasn't, or there was some in mine. Maybe they mined something little like different and totally messed up like a lot of pieces. I didn't know what is it because I do like 10 different exhibits in ingredients in a glaze, and I had to kind of look test everyone, and after finding is this whiting, and I didn't know where everywhere to go. And you even if you are precise like this, it's never you're working with natural material. It's never same. Like for example, like this glaze, which I did like it very much because it's like metallic crystal, which are triangle. And if you look under microscope, they're made of triangle. If you look even more powerful microscope, they even make small triangles. And I really like it. And it was only from one feldspar. It was like this. When I was run out, I never get it like exactly the same. And I think now in like just almost 1,200 firings, and every firings I had to write it down and I could look what was it. I think this is like super important when you do glazes, when you're mixing your own glazes.
So apart from these registers or I don't know, notes on everything, you mentioned some crystals and glazes and materials. Where do you source your material? Like one of the main topics today and in our projects, apart from learning and teaching our students, is sustainability and how to keep everything environmentally friendly. So do you source your material from local areas? Do you have to buy it somewhere else? Do you ever think about sustainability? Is it important for you?
It's not like that it's my first thought. But of course I do like when we had the lecture down about glazes, I say like feldspar, which is like most of like 50% of raw glaze. They are mined in Czech. They even like export it from Czech, which means there's no much sense to buy feldspar anywhere else. Same as like silica, whiting, a lot of material. But some materials are not mined in Czech, and it's not that that it will limit me if I will say I only buy like Czech material. Of course I buy them because I can buy them cheap, like kaolin to have mined in Czech. Of course I will buy kaolin from here. It's like even better, cheaper. There's no same with feldspar, no reason. But like cobalt is not mined in Czech. You just need to buy it, and of course cobalt have a lot of troubles how it's mined. But I must say I never see you can buy like kind of ethically mined cobalt. I know some companies say they have it, but I never see you can buy it for like ceramic. But I do buy only like I do buy some from Britain. Some things they are exported from America. Like there's a Gersley borate, which is like kind of natural like melter, which is only like made in America. They do some like chemicals, kind of chemical substitute of it, but it's only made in America too, which means I had to buy it. But it's not like I will say I'm buying like 50% from Czech, but on the amount of how much is in glaze is probably the 80% in. But I don't think I will able to do everything in locally. Actually, when I was deciding where to buy the house for like bigger workshop, I decided for like western part of Czech, because there's a lot of ceramic industry, there's a lot of mining, and it's kind of much more easier for me. I even make some contact and stuff, and I can source this much more easier. This was actually one of the decisions why to go there too, because like there's still some porcelain factory running. I can buy porcelain from them if I need it. But for example, most of my porcelain I am using the French porcelain because it's for lower firing. There's a problem with Czech porcelain, and now one of my friends actually from one mining company, he's working on it. We help him with some firing and stuff, looking for lower Czech firing porcelain, because it's really hard to fire. Czech porcelain need to be fired like for 1350 degree, and this is you will not make it with the electric kiln, and I need to fire it in electric kiln, which means now I'm buying the French porcelain, but I will be super happy if they develop it to buy Czech porcelain.
when you said you have to fire at a certain temperature, do you ever like collaborate with other like companies that have maybe bigger kilns, or they can offer something that you can't do in your own studio? You should like come up with a bigger piece that you can't do. If you collaborate with someone, why do you collaborate with them?
I only did collaborate, like I designed some, I'm not much of a designer, like industrial designer. I only make few design like for the Kubus, the factory, and after I designed kind of like porcelain lamps for like lamp factory. And this was made after, because like I don't want to be producer of this like kind of like basically like technical pieces, or it's not my, I'm not equipped for it, and I don't want to do this kind of amount. And this is done in this is done in porcelain factory. Like I design it for them, and they source it the factory, and they're making in a factory. But for bigger pieces, bigger kiln, it's hard to transport it, the ceramic, to when it's not fired. And I will now have a like reasonable big kiln, which I'm happy with.
Okay, we are now almost an hour into our interview, so I will leave the space to our students. If you've got any questions, if you think it's really interesting to find out something for somebody who earns his living by doing ceramics, the art you have chosen. So do you have any questions to ask? Maybe about your future studies and future business? No questions? No, so I will ask you. You mentioned some educational programs in your school. Would you like to share any of those with us?
Yeah,
the programs.
And those I have it. I have it prepared here. And this was this name is Decoding Ceramic, and this was a project we started to do actually a bit of sadly during the Corona.
Okay.
With another like university which they teaching the ceramic in a bachelor and master in a master degree, and it was with head of this was a collaboration was a College of St. Martin in London, and together with Norway, Berlin, and Portugal. Portugal is more like not art school, but they do conservation, restoration, and we done project like I just click here. We basically like there's a like we want to kind of map what's the ceramic industry and ceramic education around Europe. Now it's actually they working like St. Martin are working on it like to extend it to whole world. And you can see like you can click on this map like this art studio, manufacturers, museum, supplier, which is quite good too. That you can actually like for here, there's a supplier in Vienna. And I think there's a if you click here, there will be Bichler in Prague. And in a map, you can very quickly like see what you're looking for. It you can even filtrate it too. I will try to maybe find our school. What's the information in it? It's a bit slow. Oh, this is yep. Like this is a card. Like Academy of Prague, and what I think it's more interesting for you is decode. And decode is to like basically we say how to decode the ceramic, and there's a lot of kind of education video, which like every university to do different education video. We start to still do. This is actually our plaster cup mold. This is our technician. This is still our old building, and this give you some description what you need for when you want to do cup. There's actually there's material, time, steps, like there's every step here. And when I click to YouTube, I don't know if it will come. There are like videos we even had. There's a video for Raku, throwing, big scale throwing, and every university, like we thinking we are quite good in this kind of like technical tasks that we put the plaster mold, and I think it will be quite interesting to look at it, because it's everything is in English. It's a different language, but subtitles are always in English. This is actually a super long video. I think it's 40 minutes, because it shows you every step how you make called.
And this is open to public?
Yeah, it's open to public. Yeah, just
And you show the information on your website?
yeah, I just will have it somewhere. I have it like similar. I think there's even can be find the link on my Instagram too. Yeah, like extruding. So.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. And as your last bit of the interview, if we have like students here who want to continue in their journey of ceramics and maybe they would like to earn their living, and I don't mean it like in the way of concentrating just on the profit, but actually do the ceramics as their job, what would be your 3 pieces of advice for them how to continue on their journey?
Yeah.
What do you think is the most useful?
You need to like it.
You need to like it, yes.
You need to have a kind of persistent. It will be not easy in the beginning for sure. But it's not any business. It's not easy. But you need to last some time. I even have one gallery, it's like famous gallery. She say, if I see something new, I always waiting a year or 2 if they last.
Mm-hmm. If they're persistent enough to do it.
Yeah. And because like her point was that she don't like it if she like invest in somebody and after 1 year he say, oh, I have enough, like I'm going to do something else. And it's good to have like some like kind of strong idea what you want to do, like your own idea, like why you want to do it, like if you like it, why are you liking it.
So you need to like it, you need to know why you like it.
Yeah, and you
need to be persistent.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good piece of information because that's applicable to almost anything you're going to do in your life.
Yeah. I don't think like to basically like open ceramic studio is not any different from any other like business. Mostly in this like kind of applied art or even I will say any craft.
So that is all from me today. Thank you very much. It was very enjoyable and educational. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.